So again, we are here today to talk about the art of asking questions, and specifically about how to ask the right question to grow your practice. Now, in my practice, I've observed that really creative, generative, powerful questioning is one of my own mentoring and training greatest strength. So let me bring the question back to you there, you're listening to me. What do you think most engage prospective client or make a lasting impression on someone you just met? Any clue? Think for a second. What is that thing? See, the popular belief, if I ask this question to many people, and I do that in my presentation, in my mentoring training, the popular belief that we win business by being clever and quick on our feet, and that's our brilliance. Saying just the right thing at the right time is what attracts others. But I want you to demonstrate, I want to demonstrate for you actually in this short episode that this is not the case. And I hope if you stick with me till the end, you'll understand it. In fact, knowing the right question to ask is actually far more important, far more powerful than having a ready answer. Let me explain. Good questions are often more powerful than answer. Could good question challenge your thinking? They actually reframe and redefine the problem. They also throw cold water, if you want, on our most deeply held assumption and force each one of us out of our traditional thinking. Because if you have a good question, they motivate us to learn and even discover more. And ultimately, these questions serve as poignant reminders, guiding us back to what truly matters in our lives. So in this episode, I want to share with you, based on my personal experience and experience of thousands of other professionals I mentored and helped in the last more than 2 decades, the power of questions and the right way to ask them to grow your own practice. And hopefully you'll find them useful and you'll be able to craft your own unique question for your own practice, for your own career. So if you're listening to me, your first question should be right now is, okay, Itzik, so what is attentional question anyway? What are you talking about? So before I go deeper to share, again, I want to thank for all of you, those who are joining us right now. And I see you joining. If you are there with me, please put your name in the chat, where you are, where you're dialing from. So I know you are with us. And I know that you listen to, you can hear me right now. So if you are with me in the room, and I can see a lot of you with me, I can see, you cannot see, but I want everybody to see. So just share your name in the chat, where you're dialing from. And of course, as always, if you have any question in between when I'm sharing something, just put it in the chat and I will be happy to answer it as well. Okay. So again, just put your name in the chat. Let me know who you are. And if you have a question, you're also very welcome to ask it in the chat box. Great. So let's go back to, we're speaking about the art of asking questions to those of you who are joining right now. And I want to answer a preliminary question. I asked, what is attentional question? Something that you should ask right away in the beginning of our episode. See, attentional questions are actually thought-provoking questions that give attention to your conversation. This question also give attention to the other person. They give them the power to talk about what's important to them. The power to lead the conversation where they want it to go. It gives the power to express their thoughts more clearly than ever before. So it's not about you grabbing more power for yourself or trying to get attention. Those questions are actually rather being perceived. If you try to grab the attention, you want to be perceived as wise and thoughtful person, but you want to do it by giving attention to others, by asking the right question, focusing on them. So you're probably asking the next question, but isn't it the case of every question, Itzik? Or in other words, how is attentional question that you just described different from any other question we're asking, right? Because all of us asking question on a regular basis, so you know what's the difference. And again, thank you very much for those of you joining and listening. And I could see that many people joining us. Thank you, Achia from Israel, who joining us. I appreciate very much joining us and let us know. So how is attentional networking is different from other questions? See, most professionals don't ask enough questions. Actually, in fact, I discovered during my mentoring session with many lawyers and accountants worldwide that many of them often ask, sorry for that, lousy ones. And one sort of question I see many professionals do, for example, they use closed-ended question, to which really the other person can give an answer of yes or no, or no answer, or maybe a short factual reply, and that's it. It may be okay up to a front, and or up to a point, but close-ended questions rarely make people reflect, and they don't get to the heart of the matter the way thoughtful, really open-ended questions do. And I'll explain more about it in this episode. So now, the last time I trained a law firm about asking powerful questions to get more visibility and to attract the right client, they wanted to know what is it so important to them and for the firm. So let me first share with you why asking question is so important. Exactly the same answer I gave them. Okay, why asking question is so important to grow your practice. So first obvious answer is that asking thoughtful questions enables you to learn about the other person, right? Be it a client or maybe your boss or your colleague or a friend. Think about it. Sometimes we can spend a lot of time with someone without really knowing anything about them. Isn't it strange? Isn't it crazy? More than that, you see, questions enable you to connect. And for what it's worth, they make you look smart. Those who know me and follow my teaching, I dearly believe that when a relationship is all about business and there is no real personal connection, it lacks heart and really lacks soul. And therefore, you're going to be only a commodity and maybe a kind of fungible expert for hire if you want. In other words, a client or even your boss can trade you out for a new model with no remorse, no emotion, because you're just a commodity. But when you are connected personally with people, the situation is transformed because clients stick with people they like, or bosses retain and hold to the team members they feel passionately about if you have a career. See, so personal relationship build loyalty in a way that expertise and brilliance doesn't. And for that reason only, if you want, you may want to ask the right question and use them oftenly in your practice in growing your career or your practice. So I know some of you thinking, if you follow me, Itzik, if asking good question is so powerful, so how do you explain, why don't professionals ask more questions? Right? Fair enough. So let me give you the first truth. Again, based on my conversation with thousands of professionals, and maybe you're part of them, they are afraid. You see, they lack the boldness in asking questions because they don't want to come across as being aggressive or overly inquisitive. And I don't blame them. If you don't know to ask the right question, it can come across it. Second reason, they don't think enough before they speak. See, it takes time and investment to come up with really good questions to ask. And finally, for another reason, and this is the most maybe important reason from all of them, in a Western culture, we believe we impress others and demonstrate our worth by being smart and having all the answers. And also, it goes without saying that we love to hear ourselves talk. And as you know, this is far from the truth. So I hope you start discovering in this episode a little bit more about what can question or asking the right question can help you grow your practice. Again, thank you very much for those of you who are mentioning your name, Hassan from Pakistan. Thank you very much for joining as well. I'm happy you're also with us. Thank you, my friend. And all of you there, I can see you there. Just mention your name. It's good for me, good for you, good for all our community that you are. And I know I'm not alone in the room, so don't worry about that. So let's go back to the training I gave recently, as I told you, to a large law firm. Because one of the senior partner asked me something that I would love to share with you. He said to me, Itzik, okay, great. But can you give us a list of good questions instead of teaching them the art of asking the right question? Fair enough, right? Give me the list and I go home. Why do you need to explain to me the art of giving attention, etc.? Again, those of you joining right now, we speaking about the art of asking questions. So I know a lot of you asking. So you're the art of asking questions, and definitely for using it in practice, using it in career to grow your practice, grow your career. And I'm glad that you're here with me. I appreciate you again. If you have any questions during my episode we're sharing, you can ask it in the chat, and of course, always mention your name and where you're from in the chat. So let's continue with the request I got from this partner. He said to me, Itzik, give me the list of questions. Instead of teaching us the art of asking the right questions, give us the list. Now, I know if you look, you probably will find some books, and I have some of them with lists of questions. And I even give some powerful question I use, powerful question list we're using in conferences or in networking in my online course, Conference Networking Compass. And you're very allowed to go find it out on my website if you want. But in fact, the more I think about it, the more I realize that a great question is great in part because of the context in which it is used. So let me give you an example. Let's take the question why, okay? This question could be a terrific question. It could be a truly transformative question if asked at the right moment and about the right thing. But the same question, why, can also be a critical, maybe carping question that turns the other person off completely. See, it all depends on the context in which it is used. So let me share with you some of my favorite questions. I think all of you want to listen to it, and I know you listen, you see the power of question, you know why you have to ask question. Let me share with you some of my favorite questions and give you an example, okay? So when you boil it down, there are different types of attention question. And I have favorite question with each type, and I will share with you. You don't have to use them, but you could. So first type of questions are focus questions. See, this question help you focus the conversation on the other person, really thinking of what important. So for example, you might ask, what have you decided today? Right? Focus on the other person. You can ask it after a meeting, for example. Or you might ask someone about an experience. For example, what did you learn? Or why? See, it's also a focus question. It helps you really identify what's the root, what's the cause or root motivation is in the conversation. That's why it's called a focus question. Second type of question I like is passion questions. How does that work? So here's some example for you. For example, you can ask, what been the happiest moment you experienced in the last year, for example? Or even a question like, why do you do what you do? Why do you do what you do? See, these are passion questions because you let people tell their stories. Again, focus the attention on them, and then you get connected even more deeper. Hi, hello, Brandy. Hello, Alex. Hello, Green. Hello, Beisho. Hello, David. Thank you very much for joining again. I mean, I see you. And put your name in the chat if you want to be seen, if you want to stand out, but also if you want to ask your question. Remember that, by the way, that you can find more information within, by the way, the Switch membership community about a lot of the things I'm sharing with you. So you can find it there at hub.theswitch.ch on the screen /join us. Again, hub.theswitch.ch/join us, where you can find more information in our Switch community. And again, you can feel free to send me any private message or an email to learn more and to join us. Again, we're speaking about the art of asking questions, and I'm happy that you all join in and find it important. And I'm sharing the type of question you can ask that I like and give you examples. I talked about a focus question. I talked about passion question. Another important type of question is what I term, or then I call it, and you can call it differently if you want, motivational questions. And these I use them really a lot in my career as a young lawyer. When I was young, I used to ask that because I always believe there's a lot to learn from you as a young professional that asks more senior professional with many more years of experience, and maybe even is nearing retirement if you want. So you can ask a question like, you had such an extraordinary career. It is anything or something else you'd like to accomplish? See that question, if you ask it with the intention to learn from the answer, can easily, I promise you, try it yourself, can easily transform a very boring official relationship into a very personal one. Why are you asking? Because many people don't pay attention to the stories of other people. If you will be the one who asking, who giving attention, you stand out big time. But again, you have to be there to listen to the answers sincerely. Do you want another one? So here's another question I taught lawyers to ask business executive of client companies. And I kept it to tell you now because I want people to stay with me. But it's a very important question if you want to get business from corporate business. Here you go. So as you think about the future of your business, what are you most excited about? As you think about the future of your business, what are you most excited about? Can you see the power of all these questions? Do you see how this question carry really genuine attention to the other person? Do you understand why this question can accelerate the relationship building process and even build even more real and authentic relationship with the other person? If you understand, if you follow my way of thinking, you see the power of the right question. Now, I must admit to you that there are really interesting questions you can ask that cannot really be categorized like the categories I just shared with you: focus question, passion question, or motivational question. For example, one of my favorite questions is, what's your question? That's also a good question. It happened to me, many times when I give a keynote presentation or any other presentation or training, people will come afterward to ask me for my advice. It happened to me last week in New York. And they will start out by saying, I have a question I want to ask you. Okay. And then 10 minutes later, they are still talking, giving me endless background information about the situation, etc., and still haven't asked their question or told me what they really want me to help them about, what they don't want to advise about. So in that moment, I will ask them, what is your question? Or even I could say, there must be a question in there somewhere. What is it? Do you see how do you shorten the conversation? Make sure you focus by asking the right question. And by the way, you can also use this same question in your interaction with your clients. So don't forget, it's a very powerful question if you ask in the right context and the right moment. See, these are just some of the question types just to make you think the power of asking the right questions. See, great professionals ask great questions. Some of them are aware of it, some of them not doing it, some of them do maybe naturally. But if you prepare, you'll be much more powerful. If you do it intentionally, you'll see the results. Those professionals, they know that if they come up with all the answers, the chances of having else buy into the solution are next to zero. But if you or the employees come up with their answer, if they feel ownership of it, there will be a good chance it will bear fruit and deepen the connection with the client, with the prospects. See, telling, commanding, and stating the truth as you see it will not engage or empower. Because answers make you feel like a leader, but questions create real followers. Again, I need to repeat again because it's a powerful sentence, right? Answers make you feel like a leader, but questions create real followers. And this, by the way, holds true to all sorts of relationship, be it with your clients, your employees, your parents, and even with your spouses and friends as well. Try it. Question works everywhere you do. And my intention in this episode to increase your awareness as a professional that learning to use the power of question can really dramatically increase your professional and personal effectiveness. So if you're listening to me right now, my advice to you, start creating your list of questions you can carry with you everywhere in every interaction. And you will see the difference it can make to your practice and building your authority and attracting better clients to you by giving attention by asking the right questions and start focusing only about yourself, how awesome you are. That's not important anymore. To summarize this question, I mean, I want to share with you a quote that Dale Carnegie, who said exactly what I'm telling you in a beautiful words. He said, you can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you. You do this by asking powerful questions and then listening intently for what the answers will be. So don't forget, you have to listen to the answer, not just ask the question. Okay, so now, my friends, it's time to take action and implement what you've learned in this session. I don't know if you have any question. Let me check it out before we're going to summarize. I see it, Musab. Thank you very much for joining us as well. Musab and Omer, great. And Achia, thank you very much for the nice compliment. Thank you very much. I hope you're all going to use it in your career, in your business, in your practice. And all of you are there within Ask Question. If you have a question, that's the time to ask the question. I trust you got some interesting insight for you on how to ask powerful question or what sort of question you can ask. If you need our help in implementing it in your practice, or if you just want to learn how to build your authority in your field and build better relationship with your clients, even internally with your employees, this is exactly what we do for our clients, professionals like you and me around the world. We train them, mentor them, and even doing the work for them by implementing the strategies in their practice. So there's all the solution in one place. Send me an email, a private message to me to see how can I help. Next week, you have another amazing top expert to discuss a new practical strategy to grow your practice and build better relationship, reputations, and referrals. And if you want to make sure you never miss one of our weekly Switch On interview series, follow me on LinkedIn or go to the Switch Hub website where you could sign up and get a business development strategies, my business development strategies and tips. Check and register to one of my new online courses and live workshop, and I'm updating on a regular basis. So do that, or join the Switch membership community to learn more how to grow your practice and your brand. And you're very welcome again to send me a private message or an email to ask any question privately if you want, and see how I can be of value to you and your practice. For now, I want to thank each one of you there to be there. I don't see any question coming in. I guess everything this time again is clear to you and you understand how it works. Great. I'm happy for that. Again, thank you very much for joining me. See everyone next Tuesday, 6 p.m. Central European Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Time. And remember, switch on and learn to ask attentional, powerful questions. Bye for now, everybody. And thanks very much for joining me. Bye-bye.